Hey, y'all better be careful when y'all get inside them Waymo cars. Not even because them Jones can malfunction and ultimately crash, and not because them Jones is a self-driving car. You can have people hiding in the back of the little trunk spot, y'all.
That's why, Mom, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, let me out.
I'm in it.
Huh? They just put me in here.
Who put you in?
The
what?
The people. Yeah, I'm that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying. Just.
So apparently, if you're going to be ordering from DoorDash, I suggest you get a doorbell cam. Check this out. This is in Indiana. Puts the food down, takes the photo of it, right, that the delivery's made. Keep an eye on her hand. Look.
I don't wipe my ass and it stinks when I walk past you in public, but there is no reason for you guys to be making this face when I walk by.
If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, let me break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scarce and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
Ends now. Here are the good things happening in the world. Former NASA engineers have found a way to put fires out with sound waves. A Parkinson's patient played the clarinet while in brain surgery, and she says she's delighted with how it went. Seniors who listen to music or play an instrument are found to have a 39% less risk of developing dementia. These farm workers saved over 20 children from a bus that was burning in California. This 9-year-old boy saved his father from leukemia by becoming one of the world's youngest stem cell donors. Green sea turtles are no longer endangered due to a global population increase of 28%, only thanks to the decades of habitat restoration and nesting protections. Canada's first ever whale sanctuary was approved in Nova Scotia, which creates an ocean refuge for retired captive whales. A renter's rights law was passed in England, giving all tenants the right to a pet legally. As a now 94-year-old, Warren Buffett just donated billions of dollars of his company's stock.
Didn't
So
think about
apparently,
that.
if you're going to be ordering from DoorDash, I suggest you get a doorbell cam. Why do I say that? Because an Indiana DoorDash driver was captured delivering food and then spraying a substance onto the food after she took a photo of it at the front door. You heard what I said. She put the food down and then she took out some sort of spray and sprayed the delivery bag. If you haven't seen the viral video, take a look at this. Check this out. This is in Indiana. Puts the food down, takes the photo of it, right, that the delivery's made. Keep an eye on her hand. Look. I went ahead and paused it, and you could see she's actually spraying a substance.
What is
It turns
that?
out that substance was pepper spray. The scary part about the entire story is the husband went outside, got the bag, brought it inside. His wife started to eat the food. As she was eating the food, she started to cough and gasp for air to the point where she actually vomited the food out. That's when her husband took note of the bag having some type of substance sprayed on it. He then turned around and went back and took a look at his doorbell cam footage and noticed that the driver sprayed the bag after photographing it. Just a sick and disgusting and disturbing act by this DoorDash driver. DoorDash, in a statement to CBS News, stated that they have revoked her privileges to be a Dasher. And also they are cooperating with law enforcement. And they've also made a statement saying that they do not tolerate this type of behavior. So they did act accordingly, but something needs to be done about this. So my advice to you is, next time you order food, make sure you have a doorbell cam. Why? Because this right here could happen to you like it did to them. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's how some people stay away from DoorDash or food like that, man. Because you never know, bro, what people would do to it, man. You think about it. You're trusting somebody to transport your food from the store to your house, bro. Between that time they're driving, man, you don't have, like I said, you don't know what they could be putting in their food, bro. Luckily, he had to do it. He had his cam on him, so he knew what happened to his food. But think about it. How many people don't have a cam, bro? That's why, man, some people, bro, they say they stay away from that DoorDash, man. I've used it a couple of times too, bro. But Thankfully, nothing ever happened to my food, man. But see, that makes me want to stay off of them now, bro. I don't want to go through that.
Roller coasters that are partially submerged in water needs to be illegal because this is quite literally the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire 34 years of life. Like, what the absolute hell is that? Please tell me if you're also scared of this stuff because I need to be validated. Please. Like, I get it. Storms happen. Things happen. Things get flooded. But it scares me, so it needs to be illegal. Now. Why is this roller coaster in chocolate milk? Don't even get me started on this one that was just out in the middle of the frickin' ocean like that. Like, hell no. Could you imagine sitting on the beach and looking out and seeing that? I don't know if I'm the only one terrified of this, but I would probably have a panic attack just looking at this alone. This is so much nope in one picture. Probably because I have a huge phobia of abandoned amusement parks, but not only that, it's the megalophobia and also the submechanophobia of all of that stuff being in that water. And that is sick. I literally screamed when I saw this picture for the very first time. It was like 3 a.m. and I screamed. Am I dramatic? Look at this one. This is the Hulk roller coaster and it's partially submerged in water because of a flood. Oh my God. Please tell me if you're scared of this stuff because I can't be alone. Please.
Ate 3 packets of uncooked ramen as part of an internet challenge. But inside his stomach, the dry pasta started to absorb his liquids. They swelled up quickly, forming a hard mass and blocking his intestines. The boy suddenly felt ill, with severe stomach pains, and soon he started vomiting. But the mass was too big to come out, and soon he collapsed and died, all from an internet challenge.
Don't need raw
Her
ramen.
social cues are real off, or this was just a threat that she made at Candace Owens, because I'm just a little confused. Y'all take a look at this.
Time, Pastor Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say.
She low-key giving me Bride of Chucky vibes. That's all I'm gonna say. Because, dude, like, why do you look so evil saying that? And here's the thing, like, it's either she just has very weird social cues, or we are all right about the conspiracies we're saying, okay? That sounded like a threat. It's like, oh, stop. That's all I gotta say. Stop. Like that, like, that's a threat, bro. Candace, yikes.
Would you swim in here for $1 million? People didn't realize that this is what seafoam actually is. For years, people have always seen this as just a bit of fun. Like, if you're down the beach and there's seafoam, people go swimming in it. Not to mention the obvious dangers that it's pretty deadly to do this, just purely for the fact that kids will literally get lost in here and it's obviously not good. But that's not the main reason why you can't swim in this. Seafoam looks harmless, but it's basically the ocean's version of shit, where the sea spews out everything that it couldn't break down itself. It's packed with rotting fish, sewage, toxic algae, bacteria, all mixed up into this big cocktail that makes it come out like that. During storms in Australia, people jumped into this as the sea piled up, not realising what this was, and a lot of people actually got quite sick from it. Also going in not realising it's spewing out dead jellyfish, which, yeah, by the way, can still sting you, so you're getting that as a bonus as well. So if you do see this in the sea and you're tempted to go and take a swim, definitely don't, because it's definitely going to do you a lot more harm than good.
Hey, y'all better be careful when y'all get inside them Waymo cars. Not even because them Jones can malfunction and ultimately crash, and not because them Jones is a self-driving car. You can have people hiding in the back of the little trunk spot, y'all. This lady said she ordered a Waymo car for her daughter, and when her daughter opened it, it was a man behind the seats. Look at this shit, y'all.
Why the fuck are you in the trunk?
That's why Mama trying to figure this out. Like, oh yeah, they still want to let me out. They still
Why
want.
are you in it?
Huh? They just put me in here.
Who put you in?
The
what?
The people. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying.
I'm out.
Fool, he said they put him in the trunk. Who the hell was they? The car put you in the trunk, fool? My whole thing is, how the hell didn't it detect that someone was still in the car? Let's just say, for instance, that girl got a car, and this man was like a kidnapper or some shit. Or he was a Jason, Michael Myers type of nigga. That shit could have went bad, fool. So you already had the junks getting into car accidents, driving through drive-thrus. Now you got people in the back seat and the junk can't detect them. I need y'all to let me know down below in the comments. Have you drove in one of these? Or will you be driving in one of these?
This farmer in Australia.
No. Like, what the hell, man? We don't have no Waymos where I'm at, bro. But, bro, somebody hiding in the back trunk. Like you said, you don't know what people attentions are nowadays, bro. He could have been, like you said, a crazy kidnapper, bro. Good thing she clocked it. Hell, man. We will not be riding in Waymos, bro. Going into 2026 as well. That's a no for me.
Entered this race, a long race. No one's ever been able to beat it in 7 days. And he's just this old man farmer. Everyone was like mocking him because he was just wearing like, everyone had like their elite, nice sportswear, nice running shoes. And he just went out there with like a t-shirt, just some shorts that he like probably found in the thrift store and some sneakers. Sneakers! He started running last place right off the bat. But this dude just kept on running.
He didn't take any breaks, right?
No breaks.
Because everyone else took like...
And he finished the race in 5.5 days.
Insane!
Literally a day and a half before anyone else finished.
And was he a trained runner?
No, they went back and like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
On his farm, he's also like a shepherd, and all his sheep and stuff, when he brings them through like the mountains and stuff, he's literally running with them for days at a time.
Crazy.
Wow.
So his endurance was insane.
All natural, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just out here chasing the sheep.
In my sneakers.
In my sneakers.
Whoa.
It's not a walkabout.
Oh.
It's a runabout, babe.
This crazy-ass looking plane might be the future of flying, and they're saying it would make air travel more spacious, fuel-efficient, and cheaper. The aviation company, Nautilus, released the latest visuals of their blended wing body design, and it looks pretty damn wild. Its unique shape would make the aircraft more aerodynamic than the traditional Boeing, use 20% less fuel, and cut operational costs in half. Not only that, but since it's not a narrow tube like today's planes, there's way more room inside for passengers and crew. And according to Nautilus, it would also be a much quieter flight for passengers as well, due to the position of its engines. But there's always some drawbacks. Because of its shape, there's fewer window seats. And if you think about it, those who do get the window seat, imagine the roll because of how far away you are from the center of rotation. And also because it doesn't have a traditional tail, people are concerned about the aircraft's stability and control. And there's also some concern of it passing these stringent safety regulations. But, you know, Boeing finds a way to sneak past them. I'm kidding. But other companies are also in a race to get this aircraft model off the ground. JetZero are on track to fly a demonstration flight by the year 2027. So, what do you think? Is this the future of flying? Or not.
What type of shit is going on in Coney Island right now? They just found full skeletal remains on the boardwalk on West 32nd. You ain't just hear what I said? They found actual bones on the boardwalk in Coney Island. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this. That is a full body about to come out like this. What is that? This is Coney Island.
Remains that were found right here in Coney Island.
Now.
32nd Street, right here at the boardwalk. Look, my colleague. We're literally just off the boardwalk. This is a kind of a yucky area.
So they're saying a homeless person walking in the boardwalk spotted a skull laying in the bushes. 911 gets called, cops show up, confirm it. The skull is real, and they're saying that it had to be there for a long time. They have no idea who this person is, no timeline, no cause of death, no link to missing persons report. Nothing. The body could have been there for God knows how long. And the fact that it's in public, that it's been sitting there that long, that shit don't sound good. The NYPD need to be treating this like a real serious investigation. This is Coney Island. This is one of the most famous beaches in New York.
Yep.
Rest in peace to the victim. Y'all pay attention.
They say dark spirits contain a scent, or they send off scents, yeah. Whoa. And one of the scents that's very common, especially for demons, garbage, is sulfur. So if you smell sulfur, or if you smell something almost like burning and there's no sense of burning, people say it's demons or straight up the devil. Yeah. So in haunted areas and places that people deem demonic, because you can imagine if the demons come from hell and the birds they carry that smell with them. But who knows what it is?
That's
crazy.
It's
Really
really
interesting.
at the antique store. Yeah, it was at the antique store. So keep in mind, I'm the only one in this section of the aisle, and I smell a strong scent. I was trying to smell around like, what is it? There's nothing there that could make the smell unless there's something like hidden. I wanted to get something, but I didn't want to like bring something back that had some energy or spirit or whatever.
Oh crap! Smart.
What's that?
I've heard that day before actually. So that lines up.
I gotta go.
Hold on, Dean. What the hell?
These race cars are hitting 150 miles per hour with nobody behind the wheel because they're driving themselves using artificial intelligence. This is the Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, where teams compete by writing custom AI software instead of building better cars. Every team gets the exact same vehicle with one rule: you cannot modify the physical car at all, which means the competition is purely about who can code the best AI driver. Each car has dozens of sensors, including radar, LiDAR, GPS, and cameras that generate hundreds of gigabytes of data every single lap. The AI calculates things like safe overtake probability in real time and makes split-second decisions faster than any human could while navigating other autonomous cars at extreme speeds. This isn't just entertainment, it's a testing ground for self-driving technology that will be in your car on public roads. If AI can handle racing at 150 miles per hour, with zero margin for error, it can handle your daily commute. This technology could save 1.35 million lives annually by eliminating the 94% of accidents caused by human error. When cars can race themselves faster than humans can react, your self-driving future isn't coming. It's already being tested on the track today. If you enjoyed this, drop a like and comment below. Follow for more stories like this.
You
mean IShowSpeed is getting sued $1 million by a robot after IShowSpeed allegedly essayed this robot on stream. So about 6 or 7 weeks ago, IShowSpeed did this stream with this robot called the Rizbot, and the Rizbot is effing pissed now. Now the company that owns the Rizbot is suing IShowSpeed for over $1 million. And this is where it gets more worse. They're saying that IShowSpeed did over $1 million in damage, that the company that owned the Rizbot was not able to make content with the Rizbot for 28 days after, as well as the cost of the damage cost a total of $1 million. But this is where it gets more insane. The company that owns the Rizbot is saying that the Rizbot was supposed to film content with Mr. Beast. However, because of IShowSpeed, they had to cancel this, as well as IShowSpeed caused emotional distress onto the robot's brand. And a lot of IShowSpeed fans are saying that they agree with the Rizbot, as IShowSpeed's response so far has actually been to stay completely silent. And as silly as this sounds, the Rizbot might actually have a case here. Do you think that the Rizbot actually deserves the money from IShowSpeed?
I want y'all to take
that case, man. I thought that was fake when I heard it, bro, but I think it's actually legit, bro. They trying to sue Speed for $1 million, man. I don't know about that one, bro. They said there was $1 million worth of damage. I didn't see $1 million worth of damage in the video. I don't know if it happened like the coding, the inside of it, but I don't know, man.
Take a look at this. Take a good, long, hard look at this. You ever notice how every single organ in the human body is replaceable except for the brain? They can even replace your skin. Everything is replaceable except your brain. Because your brain is you. They can replace the intestines, your kidneys, your heart, any and everything, they can replace it. They can even replace your bones. But that brain can never be touched. Because as a sperm cell, that's all you are. You're just an underdeveloped brain and spinal column. So now that you have a brain and a spinal column, you're just like an evolved Pokemon. Your brain isn't you per se, but your brain is where your consciousness is housed. All your emotions, your life experiences, your traumas, everything that makes you who you are is in your brain. The human body, that shit is not real like you think it is. You know how somebody can get inside of a suit of armor? Try to think of us like that. Your brain and your spinal column, that's you. But your muscles, your bones, your skin.
Letting OpenAI license its characters on Sora. I feel like this is not going to end well for Disney. So Disney is about to invest $1 billion into OpenAI. And as part of this investment, they're going to be letting characters from Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars be used on Sora Video. If you don't know, Sora lets you AI generate short videos. And even though Disney says there's going to be a lot of safeguards in place to prevent exactly what is going to happen from happening, I think everybody on the internet knows that's not going to stop people on the internet.
I know I don't wipe my ass and it stinks when I walk past you in public, but there is no reason for you guys to be making this face when I walk by. I see you doing that, and it makes me feel like shit. So not only am I smelling like shit, I'm now feeling like shit because you don't know how to control your face. And everybody's always talking about how disgusting it is, and I'm like, but you know what? If the Lord wanted me to wipe my ass, he would have built in toilet paper into my body, and he didn't.
The smell of doo-doo is actually supposed to be a pheromone to attract mates.
But we've gotten so used as a society, we have decided to give in to capitalism. We buy this toilet paper, we wipe away our pheromones, and that's why a lot of you have a hard time reproducing, because that actually is supposed to help with your fertility. Do you know all the toxic chemicals that are inside toilet paper? And that toilet paper dissolves in the sewer system. So when you wipe, it's dissolving slowly in your butt crack, and it's getting into your bloodstream.
My family just told me not to come to Thanksgiving tomorrow. I called my mom earlier today and I asked her what I needed to bring to the dinner tomorrow, and she said, a clean ass. And I said, excuse me, because I thought I heard her wrong, and she said, a clean ass. Everybody was complaining about how your ass smelled so bad last year, and you just need to wipe it before you become cast.
And I said, now Mom, you know I cannot do that. My mom knows I suck wipe my ass because I don't want to expose myself to the chemicals that are in toilet paper. I believe that it causes cancer.
And then, she has the audacity to ask me to expose myself to cancer-causing chemicals just to make everybody else happy. I feel like everybody else should come and I should be able to go eat my mom's house.
She not wiping her butt. That.
Or else this could happen to you. One Friday, a man came home from work and tried to turn on his lights only to see if the power was out. He called his roommate who said he had just paid the bill now and it should be on in a couple hours. The man was pretty upset, but he decided, I'm just gonna go to my friend's house. But by the time he got back, his phone battery was dead. The power was still off in his apartment, so he just said, I'm gonna brush my teeth and then head to sleep. So the man picks up his toothbrush and that's when he heard the door creak behind him. His apartment was still pitch black, so he started feeling around for a flashlight, and that's when he grabbed something that felt like a human head of hair. So the man pushed whatever was there aside, ran into his washroom and locked the door. He managed to light a candle in his washroom, and that's when he saw something in his shower. This huge, horrifying creature rips open his shower curtain and says, "What you gonna do?" The man then sprinted out of his apartment, only to see 7 other people creepily smiling at him, and decided he'll just sleep in his car tonight.
Pay your light bill, bro. More of the story.
Here's some crazy history you definitely did not learn in school. The reason hurricanes have human names started off as a joke. A meteorologist named them after politicians he didn't like, so he could say they were causing great distress and wandering aimlessly. William Clark had a spelling problem. In the Lewis and Clark journals, he spelled Sue 27 different ways. The Great Fire of London officially recorded just 6 deaths despite destroying most of the city. Historians believe the real toll was much higher than that. Iceland's tallest tree is only 99 feet tall because forests struggle to grow in Iceland's volcanic soil. A mysterious carpenter built the Loretto Chapel spiral staircase alone with simple hand tools, then disappeared without collecting any money for it. Galileo spotted Neptune 234 years before it was actually discovered, but he mistaked it for a star. A blind amateur historian wrote a history of the Ming Dynasty in 1660 that was so revealing that it led to over 70 executions and thousands of arrests. A British pilot in World War II flew a burning aircraft 500 miles back to base using flasks of tea to keep the flames down. A 1960s chatbot tricked users into thinking it was a real therapist, and in 2023 it outperformed GPT 3.5 in a Turing test. Britain banned Christmas in 1647. This sparked rebellious celebrations, riots, and even 40 deaths. A nobleman in 17th century Naples fought 20 duels over Dante's superiority as a poet, then admitted he never read any of his work.
The scariest haunted house
Wow,
in the world
for the letter
is
to begin.
Manor, and now it has multiple locations, but it began in San Diego, California, in Russ McKamey's own home. If you can get all the way through the house, you'll get $20,000, but nobody has ever finished it. But before you can even think of going, you have to be 21 years old, complete a sports physical, pass a drug test, provide proof of medical insurance, be screened via phone, and sign a 40-page waiver. You also have to watch a 2-hour video called "And Then There Were None," which features footage of visitors quitting before the end of the experience. The only way visitors can leave is by uttering the phrase, "You really don't want to do this." And all that sounds like it would scare people away, but there's currently a waiting list of over 24,000 people.
Facts about being drunk. 0.7% of the world is drunk at any given time. That's about 55 million people. Up to 30% of people are hangover resistant. Belarus consumes the most alcohol worldwide. Estimates say hangovers cost 148 billion annually.
I'm in this gas
Damn.
station, and I go to use the bathroom, and there's a lock on the outside, right? So when you close the door, it locks you in. From the outside. You have no way of getting out.
Mm-mm.
And it's not on the meds. Tell me that's not fucking weird. That's weird.
It is.
That's weird. On the meds. On the meds. Not on the meds.
You guys just saw for yourself how sketchy this is. Imagine being a woman and you stop at the gas station in the middle of the night to use a restroom, and then there's someone waiting in the stall, and then the door gets locked from the outside. Whatever happens to you after that, no one would know, and you're locked in. There's no way out. People have been linking this to sex trafficking, and the police have been called to further investigate, because even if there's a reasonable explanation as to why the woman's bathroom has a lock on the outside, why is it only the women's restroom and not the men's? Just so you know, this happened at this gas station in Bryan, Texas, and because this video went viral, they have since removed the lock. There is so much evil in this world, and one thing that I learned is that you could never be too safe. So women especially, you have to be very aware of your surroundings wherever you go. And it's so sad that we still have to say this, but it's just a reality that we live in.
This is the living room of a woman who literally melted into her couch after her parents left her in that same exact spot for 10 years straight without the proper care, love, food, or any medical attention. This is Lacey Fletcher. She grew up living a pretty normal life, but she did have severe autism, so her parents say that it was challenging for her to socialize with other kids. But around the time that she was supposed to graduate high school, people just stopped seeing her. The people around her and her neighbors didn't worry because she was never reported missing, and they would still see her parents regularly who seemed unbothered, and they probably just assumed that she went off to college. But later on, Lacey was literally discovered melted into the family couch. And Lacey's parents even blamed her, saying that she stopped caring for herself and stopped doing the things that she needed to do, even though they were her primary caregivers and didn't even have a nurse at home for her. Fire and paramedics that arrived said that it was one of the worst cases they have ever seen, and said that she was literally glued to the fabric of the furniture. And her parents, who were mostly unbothered and making excuses for their actions, were both only sentenced to 20 years in prison. Rest in peace to Lacey Fletcher, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
This is why you should never record yourself sleeping. In 2010, there was a man named Nigel who was a single father with a young son. However, his child would scream every single night at exactly the same time. It was not your typical scream from a baby. It was like it was seeing something terrifying. So one night, Nigel set up a camera in his room and the baby's room to see if anything unusual happened. He thought maybe he was sleepwalking in the night, which was what was waking the baby up. So Nigel went to sleep that night like he did every other night, and woke up, of course, at around the same time to the baby screaming, but went straight back to bed and said he'd check the camera in the morning. In the morning, he went and checked the camera, and it was not pretty. At 3 AM, he saw his door swing wide open, and saw a creepy, shadowy figure standing at the end of his hallway. He then checked the baby monitor, and of course the baby was screaming, and he then saw a dark figure standing over the cot.
Here are some world records
What was
that
it?
you could beat today. Now, the most saltine crackers that were eaten in 1 minute is 12. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but I forgot to tell you, you're not allowed to have water. So that makes it a little more challenging. And the fastest time that somebody spelled the alphabet out of alphabet soup is 2 minutes and 8 seconds. I don't know why, but I feel like I could do this faster. Now, the world record for the most selfies taken in 3 minutes is 184, and no, Kim Kardashian does not hold this record. The current record holder did in 2023.
Okay, here's some...
Could you beat those records, Seekers? I definitely could. I think I could beat the Saltine Man with ease. They said 12 without no water, man. That's light work. I can do that. Comment down below, man, what challenge you think you could break.
Conspiracy theories you don't know but you have to know about. Seriously, you might want to stick around for the next 30 seconds. So yeah, let's start with whatever the fact this is. Since 2011, there has been hundreds of reports of flying figures in the city of Chicago. These pictures have been confirmed real and no one has any idea what they are. Cookie fucking terrifying. Let's clear this up right now. This is not some giant fucking seagull or some shit, okay? This is Lucifer 2021. We're all doomed. Okay, for this next one, I'm going to need you guys to look in a mirror and tell me which one of these resembles your eyes. Because, my friends, dependent on your answer will tell me if you are cursed or not. Yep, now I've got your attention. It's a Japanese theory known as sampuku eyes. Basically, the abnormal amount of whites in either the top or bottom of your eyes. The middle one is a normal eye, but it is said that anyone with sampuku eyes is in for a tragic destiny. If you have whites at the bottom of your eyes, that basically means something on the outside world is out to get you. And this means basically something on the inside world is out to get you. Let me know which one of these you have, or tag someone with one of these eyes.
Genius People Who Beat the System, Part 3. A girls' college had a rule that said you can't have carved pumpkins in your dorm room. But the rule didn't say anything about pineapples, so she went ahead and carved one of those. This guy's new job required a photo of him in a suit for their website. But since he doesn't own a suit, he just photoshopped his face over this guy's face, and honestly, it looks pretty real. This sign says no bicycle riding, rollerblading, roller skating, skateboarding, or scooter riding, but it doesn't say no unicycling. These signs say that if you park on this side, you have to pay for parking, and if you park on the other side, you will get towed. So this guy parked in between both of the signs, so he doesn't have to do either. That's pure genius. A guy posted this photo online and said whenever he parks illegally, he puts a fake ticket on his windshield so the cops won't give him a real one. That's pretty creative.
Does that work though? I feel like they just put another ticket on
This
it.
is why you should be scared of driving on dark roads at night. TikTok user Special122 said that him and his brother were making a trip from Utah to California. They were driving through the salt flats in the dead of the night when all of a sudden they looked out the window and saw a flying dark black humanoid creature. It was bird-like in form, but its legs were more like those of a human. It had glowing red eyes that stood out like nothing they had ever seen before. The scariest thing about it, though, was that it matched the speed of their car exactly and was flying only about 6 feet from the windshield, staring at them. This went on for about 1.5 miles until the creature abruptly flew away.
What the hell's the Mothman, bro? That's what they
An
saw.
update on the model in Dubai that was found on the side of the road with her spine and limbs broken near a construction site. Ukrainian authorities have now launched a sex trafficking probe into Dubai, trying to figure out if she was sex trafficked. That's what they believe happened to her so far. She was there for modeling. She's an OF model, so they believe that the two men kind of coerced her to come there so they could traffic her. Dubai police are saying her injuries are a result of a fall from the construction site. Maybe the men took her up there and then pushed her off. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it's a cover-up. Last time I talked about her a week or two ago, she underwent 3 operations to save her life. She just went under a 4th one, and she is now in stable condition instead of critical condition. A lot of people thought she was at a porta potty event. For those that don't know what that is, buckle up when I tell you this. A porta potty event is when IG influencers get invited to Dubai to undergo basically like humiliation. Wealthy men basically will buy out somebody to humiliate them. They'll do whatever. It's really disgusting. That made headlines about a year ago. That's not confirmed if she was at that kind of event or not, but it is speculated. No suspects have been identified right now, but I will keep you guys updated as the probe and investigation continues. What are your opinions on this story?
Facts about it.
That's what happens when you have too much money, man. A porta potty event where people just buy you out just to do whatever they want with you. Money, man. It makes people do some weird and crazy things.
People with brown eyes. Brown eyes can prevent eye cancer due to melanin. Brown eyes are the most common type of eye color. People with brown eyes have faster reaction times. All eyes are actually brown underneath. The color we see is just due to the amount of melanin in the iris.
According to the
Really?
FBI, if you answer this riddle correctly, you may be a psychopath. Good luck. A girl was at her mother's funeral who died unexpectedly, but there was a guy at the funeral who she'd never seen before, and they instantly got on. The woman went off talking to her family and friends at the funeral and forgot to get the unknown man's number. After the funeral, she tried to track down who this man was and why he was there, but no one knew him or any of his contact details. But then a few days later, her little sister was found dead. The police suspect it to be a murder, but the question is, who did it and why did they do it? Let me know in the comments below if you get the answer.
Creepy facts
Yeah, I saw that.
disturb you. The Mutter Museum displays various mutations, tumors, and anomalies of the human anatomy. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Mutter Museum showcases preserved internal organs, models, and equipment for biomedical research and education. The creepy stuff displayed is disturbingly informative, as their poster says. Your coffee mug probably has fecal matter on it. Scientists have discovered that 90% of coffee mugs are covered in germs. The culprit? Shared kitchen sponges, especially in offices. 20% of these coffee mugs test positive for E. coli. Charles II watched William of Orange consummate his marriage. King Charles II was the uncle of William of Orange. He married his niece to the prince, and historians say that he watched over the two of them during their wedding night. Women in the 18th century used to use lead as makeup, including Queen Elizabeth I.
This janitor urinated in the water bottles of women, giving them a disease. Lucio Diaz worked as a janitor, and he would clean different buildings in Houston, Texas. In August of 2022, a woman who was working at a doctor's office in one of those buildings reported a foul smell in the employee water dispenser, and because of that, she started bringing her own bottled water. That next month in September, that woman noticed the same foul smell, but now in her own water bottle, and she said it smelled a lot like urine. She then decides to install a spy camera, and this captures Lucio, the janitor, urinating inside the employee water dispenser and her water bottle.
Why?
That camera catches Lucio uncapping the water bottle on the woman's desk, unzips his pants, and then puts his private part inside of the water bottle. Once he was finished urinating inside of the water bottle, he recapped the bottle and then put it back onto her desk. This footage showed him repeating the vile act twice over a few days. 3 women who had drank water from the dispenser learned through testing that they had gotten incurable STD from the water. Once Lucio was questioned by police, he did tell them that he did urinate in the water and that he had a sickness. Once he was arrested, about 9 more women came forward that they drank that same water and tested positive for that same STD. In March of this year, Lucio pled guilty and was given a 6-year prison sentence.
Just 6 years? Hell no, bro. Hey man, do not drink it at the water dispensary. I guess at your job.
Okay, major breaking news. Donald Trump has just single-handedly crashed the global stock market. So the US market literally just opened after the weekend of being closed, and in the first few moments, all of the major indexes fell yet again, between 3 and 4%. That brings the S&P's 3-day losses to around 13%. That's the biggest drop since the financial crisis of 2008. China's stock market, well, they suffered their worst single-day crash since 2008 as well. Hong Kong's stock market, they suffered their steepest single-day decline in nearly 3 decades. Taiwan had their biggest one-day drop in their history, flat out. Japan, they had to literally halt trading. Italy is down, Saudi is down, Germany is down, France, the UK, India, Australia, name a country, they are probably down. I mean, Russia, freaking Russia, they didn't even get hit with tariffs, yet they're down as well. And that's just Monday. So Donald Trump, seeing all the panic, all of the, it's a bloodbath out here, he said, do not panic. He said the United States has a chance to do something that should have been done decades ago. Be strong, courageous, and patience, and greatness will be the result. As things develop, and they will bloody develop, I'll keep you guys updated.
Let's talk
You
about
guys
that
think
story
about the
with
stock
bodies of
market.
water again, because I feel like traumatizing myself. Okay, let's go. So I saw this on Reddit, and it is a giant Spinosaurus animatronic that used to move, but it was part of this dinosaur experience where there was a whole bunch of other dinosaurs in Leeds in England, and this one, they just left it behind. They just left it in the water. And it's slowly sinking, by the way. Look at its foot in the water. Slowly sinking into that water, just completely abandoned there, just for anyone to go see. I don't know how long ago this was, but if I was walking past and I saw this and I saw that it was slowly sinking, end of living operations. Jurassic Park 3 is my favorite Jurassic Park movie, okay? Don't at me, but the Spinosaurus, look how big this animatronic is on this, and look how big it is in comparison to the humans. Look how big it is in comparison to bro. Is that Steven Spielberg? Looks like it. Do you remember when you were a kid and you would jump out of the water pretending to be Ariel from The Little Mermaid? That's what this one looks like right now. It's not a Spinosaurus, but this is funny. And the tail of a Stegosaurus on the Jurassic Park ride. Dinosaurs shouldn't be in water, bro, especially the animatronics. Just nightmare fuel, but also really cool. How do y'all feel about dinosaurs and dinosaur animatronics and submechanophobia?
Morbid Facts,
Shot
Part
that.
577.
On a cold winter night in 1977, 48-year-old Teresita Basso was found brutally murdered in her Chicago apartment. Her body had been left naked under a burning mattress with a knife still embedded in her chest. The case quickly went cold with no suspects and no apparent motive, until months later when police received a chilling phone call. A local man claimed that his wife, who had worked with Teresita, began channeling messages from Teresita's ghost during trance-like states. During these eerie episodes, the woman would apparently speak in Teresita's voice, identifying her killer as a man named Alan Showery. Even more disturbingly, the alleged spirit named stolen items that were taken from her apartment, including specific pieces of jewelry that Showery had stolen from her. As absurd as it sounded, police followed these clues, and shockingly, they all checked out. Showery was arrested and eventually confessed, making this one of the most bizarre criminal cases in modern history.
Telling me she really channeled her spirit and they caught the killer like that? Must be one of the first, I guess, cases, man. Caught off possession.
It's insane. Scientists have just shocked the world after releasing a video where you can hear the first direwolf howl in 10,000 years.
Whoa.
The Times just wrote an article about it and described it as the return of the direwolf. Now, if you didn't already know, direwolves once roamed the Americas from Canada all the way down to Venezuela, but about 10,000 years ago, they vanished, going extinct along with other giant Ice Age animals like the mammoth. But their bones stayed behind. And fast forward to 2025, scientists at Colossal Biosciences recently discovered ancient DNA inside fossils that dated all the way back from 11,000 to 72,000 years old. Then, using that DNA that they discovered, they managed to decode the direwolf's entire genetic blueprint. And here is where things get wild. They took ordinary DNA from a gray wolf and then edited it gene by gene to perfectly match the ancient direwolf's genetic code. Then, using domestic dogs as surrogate mothers, Romulus and Remus were born in October. Colossal claimed that they are the first de-extinct animals ever. And at just 6 months old, they are already 4 feet long, weigh 80 pounds. And what's crazier is that instead of being really friendly and cuddly, the Times report that they're kind of cold, cautious, and avoid humans entirely. They even avoid the people who raised them and bottle-fed them from birth. Colossal posted about this achievement on X, saying, "This moment marks not just a milestone for us as a company, but also a leap forward for science, conservation, and humanity." They said they're aiming to revolutionize endangered species by mastering genetic technology. And if successful, not only could we hold on to our current species from going extinct, but maybe even bring back the ones lost to the past.
No.
However, not everyone is celebrating. Some say calling this de-extinction is disingenuous, arguing that they are only grey wolves with 20 edited genes to mimic direwolf traits. And others warn that this kind of genetic meddling could lead to catastrophic consequences.
Facts.
But what do you think? Is this an amazing scientific breakthrough that should continue to be pursued? Or are we messing with things far beyond our control, risking consequences that we can't possibly predict?
If I told you...
Like, see, on one hand, it's cool, you know, that they're bringing back, you know, I guess the direwolf and extinct species. But on the other hand, bro, you know how people get, they just want to push their boundaries, man. That's literally like the plot of Jurassic Park, man. It's literally right there in front of our faces. And we got the direwolves before the Winds of Winter. Had to say it.
Your mother was in the courtroom here today. Would that be the truth?
No, so.
Where is your mother?
Jill.
The 7-year-old who went viral in 2008 for testifying against his own mother has finally broken his silence after 17 years.
Would you tell us your name?
Andrew Hutto.
Andrew Hutto, who is now 24 years old, has shared his verdict on his mother's case, 17 years after she was found guilty of murdering his 7-year-old sister, Adriana Hutto, in their pool.
Who is this, or what is this?
My mama.
And what is she doing?
Killing my sister.
100% guilty, he recalled. I stand by every word I said. I don't believe I was what they've called coached or anything like that. I just told them exactly what I saw, word for word.
But until he does little days.
Who is this?
My mother.
And who is this?
My my sister died.
What?
She died.
Despite his painful past, Andrew, known as AJ, now a firefighter, has no contact with his 45-year-old mother and wants to keep it that way.
Was your mommy crying?
Yes, sir.
Looking back, AJ reflects, it was heartbreaking. She's my mother, but there was also relief that it was finally coming to an end. AJ was adopted by a Christian couple and spoke fondly of them. It was good. It was a lot better. Good Christian family. There was love, a happier household.
When is the last time that you saw your mother? Do you remember?
No, sir.
My childhood with Amanda it was almost a 360 difference. Completely different. Just darkness, trauma, a lot of abuse. Both Adriana and I were hit. The difference between the two families was night and day.
You'll wish you never knew. Part 4. Bacteria lives in your belly button. Back in 2012, scientists found 1,400 new species of bacteria that live there. Just like fingerprints, each person has their own unique bacteria farm that separates them from other people. Some bacteria can even travel around. Scientists once tested a volunteer and found bacteria that could only be found in the soils of Japan. But the volunteer had never been to Japan. There's a strain of rust that could wipe out billions of people from the earth. It's called the UG99 stem and was found in Uganda back in 1999. And it destroys 100% of the wheat in a field that it's in. And because of how much wheat is produced on a massive scale, if this strain infects production sites like in Europe, India, or China, it would cause billions of people to either starve to death or die of sickness. Next, there's a toxin called botulinum toxin, and just 60 grams of this is enough to kill every single person that has ever lived. It's a common substance found in Botox injections, and just a teaspoon of it can kill every single person alive right now. And the CDC in Atlanta is a Pandora's box that is one mistake away from unleashing the deadliest sicknesses known to mankind. If there's ever a breach, years of medical advancements will become useless because of the hordes of deadly diseases that are studied there.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When Gerardo Mendina turned 18 years old, his mom, Lena, was 23. Meaning she had her son at just 5 years old, making her the youngest mother ever. Sudden adult death syndrome is the thing, where your heart just stops seemingly for no reason, like a cardiac arrest, except no cardiac arrest can be detected. So dementia is what they say when there's symptoms of a decline in thinking skills and memory loss, and Alzheimer's is the disease that can cause it. And signs that you might grow up and have this can be detected as early as 3 years old. Not just that though, the symptoms too. Alzheimer's and dementia in children exists, meaning that anybody at any age can completely lose their mind and become a husk of themselves.
Crazy to think about.
This picture is an example of a psychological phenomenon known as the uncanny valley. Most people, when they look at this image, are freaked out, and here's why. Our brains accept things that look human, but when there are slight differences, we become extremely uneasy, and this is known as the uncanny valley. A popular example of this is the movie The Polar Express, and this one definitely freaked me out as a kid. And it's because the characters look human, but not quite. Here's some more examples, but fair warning, they're definitely nightmare fuel.
Gruesome facts
The uncanny valley effect. Does that really shake y'all seekers? To me, not really, but I know she said how some people, they just can't stand, to look at it. It seems human, but it's really not. My God, that Polar Express, that one kind of hits different, man, because you used to watch that as a kid, and you didn't even know they placed that in the media, man. The more you know, man. Tap in with us, man. You're going to learn some things.
You didn't know.
Open your mind.
22. This is Zone Rogue, a 42,000-acre area of land in France that was isolated by the government following World War I. They deemed the area too damaged and too dangerous from lead, mercury, arsenic, and chlorine, as well as being saturated with human and animal remains, unexploded shells, grenades, and ammunition. This devastating photo, taken in 1945 by marine photographer Joe O'Donnell, shows a little boy waiting his turn to cremate his dead little brother. The boy bit his lip so hard that it bled and silently walked away after placing his brother in the fire. When traveling to Somalia, the U.S. State Department officially recommends that you draft a will and designate insurance beneficiaries. They also suggest that you designate a family member as a point of contact with hostage takers. On the evening of May 14th, 1998, Frank Sinatra suffered a massive heart attack. The ambulance that was carrying him and his wife both made it to the hospital in record time. This was due to the nearly deserted streets as everyone else was at home watching the finale of Seinfeld.
Things humans were never meant to see.
Je pense que le professeur ne va pas venir aujourd'hui. Donc je retourne à la maison.
Hit the jets.
Can someone explain this, please?
Creepy ass cloud. No, that's like two suns. What the hell? I don't know if that's an illusion or something.
The scale of this marble quarry is so huge that it makes the excavator look like a tool. What bioluminescence looks like in the rain.
Whoa.
What the hell
Well,
just
that's
happened
facts.
in Illinois? Seemingly out of nowhere yesterday morning, a massive sinkhole opened right in the middle of this football field in Alton. It completely swallowed up a number of bleachers and one of the huge floodlights. Now luckily, at the time, there was no one on the pitch when this happened, otherwise this would be a very different piece of news. And although it looks like some freaking sign of the apocalypse, it's said to have been caused by a working underground mine that experienced a surface subsidence. Fortunately, no one in the mine was injured either.
If you see this in the ocean, get out fast. In 2016, an Australian fisherman saw this near his boat. At first, he thought it was some kind of alien creature, but he soon realized it was something even scarier. This is actually a swollen whale. When a whale passes away, it swells up, and eventually so much gas builds up that the whale's body explodes. This sends whale guts everywhere. Whales can explode with so much force that they can injure or end human lives. As soon as he realized the danger he was in, the fisherman, Mark Watkins, sailed away. But this whale definitely looks like it's ready to pop.
The hell? I didn't even know whales can explode? What the? Well, we knew that, but I didn't know like it builds up with gas. But watching these clips together, you know, I've learned that they said even when people pass away, like they can like burp and, you know, I guess cough and stuff like that because gas builds up in their body. So it happens to animals as well. The more you know, see, I kept that in my knowledge bank. Reference that, man.
Creepiest things kids have ever said. A woman drove past the cemetery with her 3-year-old daughter. Now they would drive past it every day. 3-year-old would tell her mom that people in there were waving at her. This would go on for a while until they decided to stop driving past the cemetery forever. This is because the daughter mentioned that there was an old lady wanting her to come in there. An aunt asked her niece to draw her imaginary friend for her. And this is what she drew. A humanoid figure with about 10 legs and their head detached. A little girl was playing in the McDonald's playhouse by herself and alone. The mother took this picture of her in the tunnel. To their surprise in the photo, they saw another child. But mind you, she was playing in there alone. When they asked their daughter who it was, she said, "That's my imaginary friend, Beto." A little boy told his dad he had an imaginary friend. He called him the Hanging Man and said he would visit him in his room every night. And even drew a picture of him for his dad. So the dad hid a camera in the child's room to see what he was talking about and caught this. Check this out.
Hey Liza, do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember the earth was open and I crawled out of hell.
Do they have a return policy on children? Because I think she needs one. Speaking
What
of
the
birth,
heck?
there is a 1 in 365 chance of you meeting someone with your exact birthday. Put your birthday down below to see if you can find your twin. Make sure to hit that follow button because part 2 is crazy.
Yeah, put your birthdays down below.
Research published yesterday has revealed that crows experience a much higher level of consciousness than we previously thought. A study into their brain revealed that crows experience primary consciousness, previously only observed in primates. We've always known crows were clever. They are excellent problem solvers, and creepily enough, research has shown that when a crow encounters a mean human, it will then teach other crows how to identify the human. Research has also shown that crows never forget a face, so remember that next time you're messing with one. The fact that crows, which last shared a common ancestor with primates 320 million years ago, are aware of themselves and their thoughts means we may have to completely rethink our understanding of consciousness and which animals experience it.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day.
What the hell? Saw that skull, man? All those teeth in there, bro? And I didn't know it, like, when you farted, the poop particles that be in your nose. What the hell? So every single time you smell a fart, bro, you have poop in your nose. Just blowing our reality wide open, man. That's
Wait, the sky outside is fake?
Hmm?
When they launch this fake alien invasion, everybody gonna swear it's real. You know why? Because people don't know that the sky is CGI technology. I've been telling y'all this. That's not your real sky. See the sky behind me? That same sky up there. That motherfucker is not real. Alright? It's not real. I've been telling y'all that for a reason because it's being controlled. There's 5 layers to it. It's CGI technology. They showed you this shit in that movie Kong when he threw the motherfucking spear at the motherfucking sun, nigga. Right? They showed it right to you, but before they showed it to you in Kong, for those of you who've been listening to me at university, y'all know from day one I've been telling y'all this. So if people don't know that CGI technology, once they get the change in the frequency of the sky, and they get the altering the layers of the sky, they make it look like it's a war going on right there that's not. Alright? They make it seem like it's these huge spaceships that's in the sky that's not. And then they're going to actually use actual spaceships that they do have from other extraterrestrial species like these insectoids and these greys and these other ones that they got in cahoots with. They gonna make this shit look real, y'all. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie they never put out, nigga. This gonna be the biggest movie they ever put out. I'm saying movie for a reason because the shit ain't real, but it's gonna look real. Listen, you ain't better tell people that we ain't under UFO invasion.
He could be onto something. Stay weird.
These are the
Interesting
5
theory.
scariest space facts. You've been warned. If a massive asteroid was headed for the Earth, the chances are there isn't really much we could do. At any moment, the sun could emit a coronal mass ejection aimed at the Earth, and if we weren't prepared for it, it could destroy the entire world's energy grid and leave us without power for years. There are black holes lurking in the shadows, roaming throughout our galaxy, and if one entered our solar system, it would be all over. When a star runs out of fuel, it can emit a gamma ray burst, and if a star within 3,000 light years of Earth happened to emit a gamma ray burst, and it was aimed at us, the ozone layer would be destroyed. Finally, every year there is more space junk created, putting us at risk of being trapped within the Earth.
Man, yeah, junk on Earth, junk in space, bro. It's like all that just keep piling up and up. I don't even know there what space junk. I mean, I knew there was some things, but I didn't know it was like gonna get bad to that level. Everywhere polluted, man. Even in space, that make no damn sense.
This is the scariest story about the school trip. An entire class of 6th graders went on a school trip one day. Everybody was taking pictures with their phones and cameras and having such a great time. But when they all got back to school, they started looking through all the photos they took, when suddenly one of the girls screamed, "Oh my god, what is that?" In the picture, one of the boys in the class was sitting on the bus, and nothing seemed strange about the photo until you looked at his reflection in the window. His face in the reflection looked like it was yellow and bulging, and completely mutating. Also, there was a white floating figure behind him in the reflection. Everybody turned the photo upside down and realized it was a human skull, and it was horrific. And when the boy saw the photo of himself, he immediately burst into tears and had a panic attack. The teacher then took the boy to the nurse's office, and the principal banned everybody from speaking about the strange photo ever again. And to make this even scarier, 7 days later, the boy died from a brain tumor. The photo is said to be on the internet somewhere, but I don't recommend looking for it.
Here are 10 creepy, disturbing, and scary facts you didn't know. Part 2. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. Until 1974, it was illegal to appear in public in the city of Chicago if you were ugly. During the early 1990s, a serial killer named Joseph Metheny owned a burger stand located in Baltimore, Maryland. After his arrest in 1996, he confessed to feeding his customers the flesh of at least 3 humans he had murdered. A new homeowner was shocked to find a rag doll boarded up in a wall cavity, clutching a note saying she killed a family. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, we still don't know where that signal came from. The movie The Hills Have Eyes was based on the true story of the Bean Clan, a Scottish family who would secretly ambush, kill, and eat travelers for 25 years. In 1957, 2 sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, were killed in a tragic car accident. A year later, their mother gave birth to twins, Jennifer and Jillian. Then it gets weird. Jennifer, the younger twin, had scars and birthmarks on her body that were identical to Jacqueline's, the deceased younger sister. The twins began to ask for toys that had belonged to the deceased girl, toys they had no knowledge of. Albert Fish, an American serial killer, boasted that he killed in every state and claimed to have had over 100 victims. What makes him even more sickening is that he sent letters to his victims' parents to tell them how good their children tasted.
Disgusting.
A man named Francesco Lentini had 3 legs, 4 feet, 16 toes, and 2 sets of functioning male genitals. He worked for a circus and lived until the age of 78. In 2011, Anatoly Yurovich was arrested after 12 dolls were found in his apartment. However, they weren't regular dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that he had dug up, dressed up, and displayed.
What the fuck?
Like for part 3.
I wasn't at it.
This is one of Spirit Halloween's creepiest props. This is Gruesome Granny from 2013, and she is easily in my top 10 props of all time. She's made by Techie Design, and they did a great job on her. Her head and hands have an awesome amount of detail, and the baby does too. And as you can see, she's pretty animated as well. She rocks back and forth while singing her baby to sleep. Her mouth moves, head turns, and her head lifts up and down. Almost everything about her to me is phenomenal. I just wish her clothing was more reflective of how long she's been dead. I mean, she's clearly been rotting for a very long time, yet her clothes are still mostly pristine. And as per usual for techie props, my favorite part about her is the audio. It is just so fucking awesome. She sings Rockabye Baby, and it's very creepy. There's a music box in the background, the baby's laughing and crying. It's just a really well-constructed soundtrack. And she does a good job at making people uncomfortable. Some people don't like this concept at all. I've seen a lot of sensitive people flip shit over this one. But I think she's weirdly wholesome. I mean, a grandmother's love transcending even death. I don't know, I think that's pretty fucking metal though. She retailed for $170 back in the day and is clearly another massive W for Techie.
Tell us some kids. She's gonna terrorize some kids.
Terrifying facts you never knew. If your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if they did, they would attack your eyeballs until you can no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline. that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetative state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. Joe McDamey was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers, using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eat. I'm cooking all my food myself, because why don't we eat over people's house? In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering, and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all. But they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured it out. They were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this video if you want a part 2.
About money that will blow your mind. Half of all elder millennials wish they had chosen a different career path. The majority said they felt pressured to pursue 4-year degrees with mountains of debt and now earn too little in their jobs to keep up. Here's the scariest part about all this. Gen Z has the lowest average student loan debt of $14,000. Millennials are the next highest with $33,000 on average. Gen Xers have even more student loan debt on average with $43,000. And finally, baby boomers actually carry the highest average student loan debt. Your student loan debt actually goes up as you get older. Top that off with the unemployment rate going back up, and more than 1 million people became unemployed last month. Here is a solution that could double your income. The average tech salary is $100,000 to $300,000. You can learn any tech profession in 6 to 9 months with Triple 10. Triple 10 offers beginner-friendly boot camps with tons of different careers, and 87% of students get great jobs at companies like Amazon and Tesla. Triple 10 will even give your money back if you don't get a job within 6 months of graduating. Link in my bio to take their free consultation to find out what career would be best for you. There is an
We're going to Triple 10, man. Get that tech money, bro. It's actually interesting, man, to see the generations of seeing how much money people owe in college, man. If you don't know what you're going to college for, I just say figure it out before you go so you don't get all that debt piled up.
Eerie ghost town in America that is too dangerous for humans because it's been on fire for over 60 years. The roads leading to it were even covered in dirt to keep people out. But despite this, the town of Centralia still has a population of 4. You see, back in its day, it was a booming coal mining town with thousands living there. But when a fire accidentally spread to the mines underground and became too large to extinguish, houses started collapsing, roads began to crack and buckle, dangerous gases started rising into the air, and a 12-year-old child even got sucked into a 150-foot sinkhole. It became so dangerous that the state of Pennsylvania stepped in and offered to buy people's properties off of them so they could leave the town. And because coal seam fires have a massive amount of fuel, it's believed that the fire will continue to burn for another 200 years. But despite the town's zip code being erased off the map, the roads to it being blocked off with mounds of dirt, and even a court order saying that any residents that remain would not be allowed to sell or pass down their homes to anyone, according to a 2020 census, 4 people still remain. 5 things you can do with your body.
Who in the hell is living in a town that's always on fire? Why didn't they just abandon it with everybody else? I guess that their family home is really important to them, man. You know, some people, like, they just refuse to move. I think I seen a clip on Twitter or something like that where, like, this freaking house, they had built, like, a whole, like, I guess new, like, roads and stuff like that, but they had to freaking build around the house because the owner refused to sell, man.
That you only just realized. You can only swallow 2 to 3 times before your body forces you to wait to try again. And you can't with your nose plugged. You can actually tickle yourself by rubbing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And your forearm is about the same size as your foot. And if you say, your breath comes out warm. But when you say, your breath comes out cold. In celebrities' houses, before and after their fame. Eminem, or Marshall Mathers, was born and raised in Missouri. This is the house his family settled in when he was 11 years old. And then after his rise to fame, this is now his house. And this is the house where Jennifer Lopez grew up. Her parents were born in Puerto Rico and moved to the USA, and this is the house in New York that they bought. And then after her rise to fame, this is now one of her mansions. This is where Kanye West grew up in Chicago. But then at the age of 10, he moved to China to live with his mother. Then after his rise to fame, this is one of his incredible mansions. And Justin Bieber grew up in this house on low-income housing in Stratford, Ontario, the United States. And after his mega successful career, this is one of his craziest mansions.
Seen it glow up on each and every single one of them, man. They said, I'm through with the house. We in the mansions now. It's insane. Especially the Justin Bieber one. I can't even imagine.
Top 3 terrifying animals that existed and you didn't know about. Number 3, the Titanoboa. This prehistoric snake, living approximately 60 million years ago, ranks among the most terrifying creatures known. Reaching lengths of 39 to 49 feet and weighing up to 2,500 pounds, it dominated ecosystems, particularly in South America. Number 2, the Pulmonoscorpius, an ancient scorpion from the Carboniferous period, about 330 million years ago. Measuring up to 2.3 feet long, it surpassed the size of any present-day scorpion. Its formidable appearance likely made it a fearsome predator in its time. Number 1, the Gigantopithecus. As the largest primate to have ever lived, this colossal hominid existed around 100,000 years ago. Standing up to 9.8 feet tall and weighing up to 1,322 pounds, it was an imposing figure, although likely a peaceful herbivore. Factors like climate change and competition with humans contributed to its eventual extinction.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. The 17-year-old who took this photo told his family members that he planned to hike the stairway to heaven. He texted multiple pictures before his disappearance, and shortly after, the family noticed a man in this photo. While this photo may seem like an ordinary picture of footprints in the sand, they actually belong to a 4-year-old little girl who shortly after this photo was taken, drowned in the ocean. The 2 brothers in this photo are at Sequoia National Park. This photo was taken moments before they were both struck by lightning, and both shockingly survived. There was a tradition in Victorian England to take photos of dead people, often dressed in their best clothes, and pose as if they were taking a family portrait. If you look at this photo for long enough, you'll notice something is a little off about one of the children. The man who took this photo of his wife scuba diving off the Australian coast also managed to take a photo of Tina Watson, who was drowned by her husband that day in 2003.
These are the scariest
Terrifying backstories, man.
of war. Ghost Tape 10 was an audio tape played by the US Army during the Vietnam War. They would play it from helicopters and boats. Its aim was to scare the enemy Viet Cong who were hiding in the jungle.
Playing mind games on him.
The A-10 Thunderbolt II is one of the most feared planes owned by the US military. It is better known as the Warthog because of the scary sound it makes.
Is it like breaking that sound barrier?
The Warthog can actually open the sound barrier. The atomic bomb is one of the most powerful bombs ever made.
We know that from history. There's no explanation needed there. Could you imagine, man, you in a force, you hearing those sounds? Like I said, they're just playing freaking, I guess, psychological or mind games on I guess, enemy soldiers. You'd be paranoid, man, especially in the jungle too. Oof. What's he got?
Hot take, not gonna apologize for it. 1v1, a Wolverine would whoop a honey badger. That Streets made this aggressive bulk at the face of Black Air Force energy. Whole time the Wolverine's the CEO of Cell Block D tendencies. First of all, they're more than capable of hunting for themselves, but some dudes can't be bothered to get their own bread. Instead, they gotta steal from the baker. And by baker, I mean they'll tax animals like wolves, cougars, even bears. Let me remind you, they're about the size of a medium dog, yet the crackhead Courage can have an overgrown canyon cat backpedaling. And you thought honey badgers were on timing. And they are, but Wolverines, where else are you gonna find a war weasel 2v1ing a pair of wolves? But
2v1, bro.
They can hunt, and they are very good at it. They've been known to murk moose by either going after one that's already injured or one stuck in the snow, since Felony Ferret's like a psychopath with snowshoes. And they'll track you down and run your fade like John Wick. This reindeer was injured and likely bleeding, so the travel-sized bear followed it and delivered smoke directly to the face like a cigarette. They've also been known to eat porcupines, or at least die trying. And you can even find a story of a Wolverine packing up a polar bear. Yeah, it was at a zoo, but that's still a fat W. Wolverines have this really bad habit of whenever they find something that doesn't belong to them, they'll immediately soak it with the smell of death, strong enough to make you cry fresh from its brown eye. A smell so offensive they've been nicknamed Skunk Bear. There have been stories of them breaking into cabins, blowing up the place like a truck stop bathroom, and walking out with like a sock or something. Almost forgot, this walking garbage disposal has rotated molars in the back of its mouth, meaning they can chew through solid bone and frozen meat. I'm sorry, but a motivated skunk monkey is absolutely folding an Oreo-coated temper tantrum, but that's just me.
Perplexing plot twists, part 1. In 2008, an Australian couple named Julian and Carolyn were kidnapped by a satanic cult. Members of the cult threw them in a van and drove them deep into the forest where they were stripped, blindfolded, tied up, and abandoned. Convinced that they would die, Julian suggested that the couple get married under the eyes of God and consummate their relationship. After a week of wandering through the woods, the couple finally made it back to their hometown. Julian was immediately arrested, found guilty of staging the entire thing.
What? He staged that entire thing for this girl. Not in the woods for a week, man. For him to be the mastermind? That's insane, bro.
Worst rated foods in the world. Jellied eels is a food from England, which consists of boiled eels, with salt, pepper, and vinegar added to them. Rating 2.2. Chapelele is a food from Chile. It's a bread made from potatoes and flour. It doesn't sound bad, but many don't like the texture or taste. Rating 2.1. Yerushalmi kugel is a food from Israel. It might look like a cake, but it's actually a casserole, made from noodles, eggs, and peppers. Some like it, while others despise it. Rating 2. Ramen burger is an American food. It's basically a hamburger, but with ramen noodles instead of buns, leading to a very soggy texture and kind of a weird taste. Rating 1.9. Halkut is a food from Iceland. It's made from shark flesh, which is then fermented for up to 3 months, and then left to dry for 5 more months. This creates a very strong taste which makes many people gag. It's normally served in really small quantities because it's so strong. Rating 1.5. Kalvsylta is a food from Sweden. It's a mix of jellied veal, onions, and spices, and is eaten cold. Rating 1.4. Blodpult is a food from Finland. It's basically a dumpling made from flour and reindeer blood. Rudolph better stay away from Finland. Some say Blodpult has a similar taste to a ball of bacon, while others say the taste is absolutely awful. Rating 1. Tell me in the comments what your least favorite food is.
What if the Purge was...
I ain't gonna lie, I think it would have to be the Blood Bowl. You see different foods, different cultures. They either got 1 or 2. I thought the ramen burger was kind of gonna be up there, but that one failed too. I didn't even know there was such a thing as that. I'm gonna have to try that. Find out for myself. Seekers, what are you guys' least favorite food?
Real. A new political party is voted into office in the U.S. The new party amends the Constitution to allow one day every year where all crime is legal. Most Americans bunker down in their homes, but a group of murdering psychopaths patrol the streets, and this actually prevents riots, but the majority of the murders actually happen between angry family members. Financial crimes are rampant, and the stock market crashes every single year the day before the Purge.
These are the safest countries to go if World War III was to start. And considering the news at the moment, you might want to sit down, shut up, and listen! So favorite this video, just in case you ever need it. I hope we never do. Now, there are countries all around the world, but let's start with Argentina. Now, if this was to all break out, it's likely that the world would look similar to Terminator 2 Judgment Day at the end. It's likely that all the smoke from all of these will block out the sun, this resulting very quickly in famine and crop failure. But don't panic, because we have Argentina. In Argentina, there are an abundance of resistant crops, such as wheat. This is one of the places on Earth that actually has a chance of surviving World War III. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Switzerland. Now, aside from the fact that it is incredibly neutral when it comes to politics, it has a landlocked geography and mountainous terrain, as well as being one of the countries with an insane amount of underground bunkers. Actually, there's 26,000 of them, which are actually all very hidden, which will mean you will be very safe. As well, just in case there is an invasion, Switzerland literally has booby traps everywhere. It's actually kind of insane and awesome. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Antarctica. Now, barely anyone thinks about going there, which is why it's pretty safe. However, as you can tell, it's a bit fucking cold. So bring a coat.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Greenland. Now, it was in this movie, and they all survived. But on top of that, it's remote, mountainous, and politically neutral, making it kind of an ideal refuge point. And on top of that, worst case scenario, you're not too far away from the global seed vaults, which, you know, has a lot of seeds in it for planting, and thus food and survival. There are literally so many more countries on this list. So if you'd like me to go through more countries in a part 2, let me know. And hopefully we'll never need this video. But just in case we do send this to a friend, it could save their life one day. Elon!
Yeah, like I said, hopefully we won't need that. I'm definitely gonna if we can write some of those countries down though. I can't believe you said Switzerland, bro. Have all those bunkers. You would think the US would have some bunkers like that too.
Trying to take over the world in today's time would go absolutely horrible. Now, trying to take over the world 1,000 years ago probably wasn't very hard. You know, you put me in a world 1,000 years ago, I could easily take over the world. Now, obviously, they weren't thinking about that. They were thinking about when they're going to get their next meal and when they're not going to die of frostbite by the age of 19.
Yep.
This taking over the world concept that we see in movies and TV shows, animes, cartoons, whatever you want to say, in fiction, just to say fiction, it isn't realistic at all. I mean, no shit. Yeah, did you know that, like, it's not possible to take over the world? Woo! Will plays us are really making us feel enlightened over here. But trying to take over the world nowadays would go horrible, like I said. 1, because guns exist. 2, because we're already unified. And 3, because guns exist. I guess if you wanted to take over the world, I guess you could probably try to convince a bunch of hillbillies and drug addicts that you're the Messiah. I would start there.
I don't think that would end
This
well.
clown animatronic changed the landscape of the Halloween industry when it released. This is the creepy towering clown from Spirit Halloween 2017, and his history is kind of interesting. First, because I know you guys love it so much, let's start with his official backstory. Grimsley the Great was a troubled man, an infamously tall clown who was part of a traveling carny family. Every night before a performance, Grimsley would stand before his dressing room mirror and manically paint on his deceivingly joyous features. But it took hundreds of attempts before he was satisfied. He'd wipe his face clean and start over in a fit of rage, often gnashing his pale white face with his dagger-like fingernails.
Some say you could hear his blood-curdling screams from miles away from his dressing room, and his sinister soul was hiding a dark secret, a plan to collect and transform innocent bystanders into human oddities for show business. That was just a quick retelling of his official story, and it's one of the better ones, I'd say. Grimsley is made by a company called Seasonal Visions International, and he was the first bent-legged towering prop that they'd ever released. This looming, bent-legged pose eventually found its way onto several other characters. It was really popular at the time. They don't make them that much anymore, but some would say that's for the better, as these animatronics dominated SVI in the late 2010s. Before he came to Spirit, Grimsley became available in the UK in early 2017 on a website called Mad About Horror, which I still don't fully understand considering that he was meant to be a Spirit exclusive, but regardless, this was one of the few Spirit exclusives that was available in the UK for a brief period in time. But most notably, this animatronic is what started what I'm gonna call the Clowndemic. Grimsley's release coincided with a cultural phenomenon at the time that helped propel him into one of Spirit Halloween's most successful props. And that was It 2017. I don't know if I can really illustrate just how fucking popular this movie was when it released, but if you were there on the internet in 2017, you would know. Before 2017, clown animatronics weren't even that popular. They weren't even that frequent, which is insane to think about, because after 2017, clowns were everywhere. Nearly every clown animatronic after Grimsley became insanely popular. Many of them actually ended up overshadowing Grimsley completely, like Pugs the Clown, Crouchy, 2020 Charlie, and some others. Grimsley doesn't even get talked about that much anymore. Something else that's interesting, this was one of the first SVI animatronics that suffered from very severe facial deformities. Not quite to the extent of Heckles from last year, but it was bad. In 2018, though, they fixed this, and to this day, the 2018 model is the best version of this prop, and that's also the version that I have. Also, he has his own costume, so take that as you will. Shockingly enough, this prop retailed for only $200 in 2017. I know some will say that that's still a lot, but this thing is 7 feet tall. He's huge. If he released today, I'd bet money that he would be $300 to $350, no doubt about it. Even back in the day, $200 was crazy reasonable, considering some of the other animatronics that were priced the same. In my opinion, he was absolutely worth the money, and I think he deserves to be talked about a little more.
Tall ass clown. I don't do clowns though. Imagine seeing that walking by. Little kid gonna be scared as hell. There's different costumes, or just that costume that comes with it. I'm gonna say, was he said that clown was responsible for the clown phenomenon? That was all over YouTube, all over the internet. I remember those days. People were pranking people.
Facts about food. The largest meal ever consumed was when a woman ate 19 pounds of food in about 4 hours. She did end up passing away after this. A Serbian vodka comes with 13 health warnings, including one in Braille, due to its 88% alcohol content. In 2022, 2 Californians filed a class action lawsuit against Barilla Pasta because they thought it was made in Italy. The FDA does not recognize Dr. Pepper as a cola, a root beer. Cranberries will bounce. If you want to test how ripe your cranberries are, drop them on the ground. Cranberries are nature's bouncy ball. Even farmers use this technique to see if their cranberries are ready for shipment. Mountain Dew contains orange juice. Although it tastes like a lemon lime soda, orange juice is third on the list of ingredients, just behind carbonated water and high fructose corn syrup. Humans' DNA is 60% the same as bananas. Our genes are comprised of 3 billion building blocks, which are surprisingly ununique. From this, 60% of our genes are identical to that of the banana. However, the other 40% is different enough to make us who we are. There's a small difference between jelly and jam. Jam is made with fruit, which is why it's so much more chunky. Jelly is made with fruit juice. This is an easy way to tell the difference between jelly and jam. Jelly will spread evenly, while jam will tend to be a little lumpy. A ridiculous amount of Nutella is sold every year, so much so that it could cover the Great Wall of China 8 times. You could circle the world almost 2 whole times, and the amount weighs the same as the entire Empire State Building. Sound can influence the taste of your food. High frequency sounds are to enhance the sweetness in food, while low frequencies bring out the bitterness. Pound cake got its name from its recipe. The early recipes of pound cake called for 1 pound of butter, 1 pound of eggs, and 1 pound of sugar. Most supermarket wasabi is actually horseradish. Real wasabi is challenging to make and expensive. As an alternative, most wasabi for sale is colored horseradish with flavoring. Farmed salmon is dyed pink. Wild salmon is naturally pink because of all of the shrimp they eat. Farm-raised salmon have a different diet and end
Eating fake salmon out
However, they
here?
are fed specific plant pigments to get the same hue as wild salmon. Crackers are worse for your teeth than sugar. Acid is the biggest cause of tooth decay, and crackers tend to stick to your teeth, which ends up being a breeding ground for bacteria. You can find peanuts in dynamite. Peanuts have an oil that is used as an ingredient while making glycerol, which is a main component of nitroglycerin. French fries originated in Belgium, not France. They are only called French fries because they are French cut. Twinkie cream is not cream at all. It is actually vegetable shortening. Strawberries are not berries. Technically, berries only have seeds on the inside, a rule which is obviously broken by strawberries. Margarita pizza is named after a queen. When King Umberto I and Queen Margherita visited Naples, they wanted a change from their fancy food and asked for pizza, which was food for the poor back then. The queen loved the mozzarella pizza so much that it ended up being named after her. Thomas Jefferson actually made pasta popular in the United States. He is responsible for bringing the first macaroni machine over to the United States after spending time in France. He was also the one who introduced mac and cheese to Americans. Cauliflower comes in multiple colors. Although we typically only see the white cauliflower, it actually has purple, orange, green varieties. Orange and purple cauliflowers have higher antioxidants. Lima beans are deadly. Raw lima beans have lethal amounts of cyanide in them, but if you cook them thoroughly, you'll be just fine. Sweet drinks can cause dementia. It's not quite as drastic as it originally sounds. However, studies have shown that people who drink 1 or more artificially sweetened drinks per day are almost 3 times more likely to develop dementia. Coffee is the main source of antioxidants for Americans. Antioxidants help fight aging and heart disease, but coffee doesn't really have that many of them. We just drink a lot of it, so we kind of get enough. An expensive delicacy of China is bird's nest soup, which is made from rare bird's nests created from the saliva of small swiftlets. They've been used in China for over 4 centuries. Food is allowed to contain some amount of insects. By FDA standards, there is an allowance for the level of traces of bugs that could be in your food. Chocolate can have no more than 60 insect fragments per 100 grams. Peanut butter can't have more than 30 insects per 100 grams. So theoretically, insects can be in them as long as it's under that. Tonic water.
That's insane.
Quinine is the component of tonic water, which is what causes the glow. Sheep brains are a delicacy in Turkey, China, and India. Brains are a natural filling for ravioli, cheese, scrambled eggs, and other textured dishes. Rocky Mountain oysters are deep-fried bull testicles, favored among cowboys, often served at rodeo events across the United States.
Learn about everything outside of the United States today. China has a 26-story skyscraper pig farm. Apparently on TV in Japan, they put "the staff ate it later" as a caption shown on screen when there's food to let the audience know that they didn't waste it. Brazil is utilizing geese as guards for their prisons. There's a lake in Canada named the Big Ass Lake. Do you love your half-brother or half-sister enough to get married? Well, in Sweden you can if your county approves it. The Vatican has the only ATM in the entire world that is equipped with instructions in Latin. Apparently Pyongyang in North Korea has one of the deepest subway systems in the entire world, and the tickets are as low as half a US cent. So there was a band performing in Melbourne, Australia called Amel and the Sniffers, who had to cancel their performance because of safety concerns. But the band then decided to pay $35,000 of bar tabs across the entire city for all the disappointed fans. China has a punishment called the death sentence with reprieve, which is basically a 2-year period where the execution is only carried out if you do wrongdoing again.
man warn us about what's happening today back in 2019?
The issue for me, this guy Douglas Rushkoff talks about it. The issue is like when I try to tell kids and parents or whatever, they're coming for every second of your life. That's what these companies are coming to. This company as well. And it's not because anyone is bad. It's not because anyone in this company has evil plans or is trying to do this. They're not even doing it consciously. It's because these companies like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and everything, they went public and they went to shareholders. So they have to grow. Their entire models are based off of growth. They cannot stay stagnant. They're trying to get more engagement from you. We used to colonize land. That was the thing you could expand into. And that's where money was to be made. We colonized the entire earth. No other place for the businesses and capitalism to expand into. And then they realized human attention. That they are now trying to colonize every minute of your life. That is what these people are trying to do. Every single free moment you have is a moment where you could be looking at your phone and they could be gathering information to target ads at you. That's what's happening. So like as much as we can, as have really good conversations and try to humanize the conversations, the mechanism of the business is rolling towards that just because of the market. So it's coming.
Here's some. That's the name of the game, bro. Well, this day and age is engagement. That's why freaking apps like TikTok is so popular, bro. Because people have short attention spans, man. Or why shorts is popular on YouTube is people only want to watch a video for 20, 30 seconds, bro. Optimize it and just keep swiping, man. But the thing you said about ads, I have noticed that more than usual lately, bro. You just see ads everywhere, bro. You can't escape it, man.
The Scariest Unknown Creatures Caught on Camera, Part 5. The video you are seeing has been trending in the Spanish community due to its unknown origins. An unknown individual is seemingly looking in the tree line for something that startled him. He then turns to his roof and we see just what that thing was.
I don't see nothing yet. What the?
A fleshy pink creature is seen hunched over on the person's roof. The creature has an abnormally large body in comparison to the average person, with limbs that are disproportionate to its body. Its head is also very small in comparison to its body, being attached to a freakishly long neck. It seems to have black eyes and a gaping mouth, but it's hard to tell due to the quality of the video. It quickly runs away after being spotted, leaving everyone questioning just what this disturbing creature was.
Might have to call
Have you happened to come across this viral new trend, where people that are pulled over by law enforcement for traffic stops are not opening their windows, but they're actually putting a sign in the window telling the officers what they will comply with and what they will not comply with? If you haven't seen the viral video, take a look at this. Look at that.
Could be me.
I've gone ahead and stopped the video right where the sign appears. Take a look at what the sign actually says. I remain silent. No searches. I want my lawyer. Please put any tickets under my windshield wipers. I'm not required to sign, and then goes on to put the law number right next to it. I'm not required to hand you my license, again with the law number stated on the side. As you can see, the license is being displayed below the sign in the window. Thus, I'm not opening my window. I will comply with clearly stated lawful orders. So I guess my question to you is, do you think this is going to go far in certain states? Do you think that officers are going to allow this to happen in certain states? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Would you do something like this? Would you have the you-know-what to do something like this? And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Reptilians do walk among us. Did you guys see Kate Beckinsale on the Jimmy Kimmel Show saying that her daughter's boyfriend lays eggs? And she saw it, and she also showed them pictures that the crowd was not able to see. Now, a lot of people think she's joking or think it's some type of code word or code whatever, and it's something they do that's weird in Hollywood, maybe. But I found it interesting what she said about her daughter's boyfriend. Take a listen.
2 eggs in a week is what the bright spot was. Who did? The boyfriend did.
She said he lays eggs. And she has proof of it. These reptiles walk among us. I think people just think we live in this world where the government tells us what we can see and believe, and that's it. That's all that exists. No. These reptilians walk among us, and I think a lot of you know that. Back and you look at ancient statues, you see evidence of reptilians and these weird animal-human hybrid people. Mind you, the Nephilim did a lot of gene coding naturally when they were on Earth. Y'all don't think they're doing the same thing with the technology we have today? Y'all don't still think that they walk among us? Remember, the serpent was what? A reptilian. What they do is they put it in plain sight and they want us to think it's a joke. They desensitize us to it and all these things. She's literally saying that her daughter's boyfriend is a reptilian right in front of our faces. And even if this is talking in code, what a weird way to talk in code. Holly weird, dude. Holly weird. Once again,
talk about things caught on camera. Bro, have you seen, okay, there's this clip of the Falcon 9 in space, and it was a live stream, right? And so it's showing the outside of the ship, okay? Mm-hmm. Someone spotted a mouse. What? On the outside of the thing. You can see it on video. You can see it crawl.
In space?
That's what I'm saying. That's what people are freaking out about, man. People are like, wait a minute.
Wait.
Is this true? Is this a live stream from actual space? Or is this some type of studio stuff and they just let something slip?
Oh, man.
But dude, I'll show you the video. It's absolutely crazy because you see it up close and you're just like, what is he looking at? And then you see something move that absolutely, that's 100% a mouse.
Oh my gosh.
And so it makes me wonder, like, the new Ratatouille. What are they up to? What are they filming?
Astronaut? What do you mean that I could be an astronaut?
Right there.
Wait.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And it's all over.
I mean, it could probably live for like a little bit. On
outside?
No, your
on the
head
way.
explode.
You heard of the Chelino Sanchez story? Is that Mexico? Yeah, it's Mexico. Okay. So he's a musician that was right after his concert because he was handed a note. From who? There was this one time somebody did something to his sister, and while he was performing, he saw that guy walk into the bar. Bro dropped the mic, pulled out his bah! Took out the guy that did some unspeakable acts to his sister. Yeah. Real cheap. Now, what ended up happening in that same bar when he was performing, somebody came up and tried to, take him out. He saw him pull up. That's like the Wild West. Start pulling out while Chelino Sanchez on stage singing them. Yo. No! Yeah, man. While he's singing. Now, the third time he was singing, somebody from the crowd came up to him and handed a note. And you know how people handed notes as a song request? Yeah. He opens the note and the note said, if you don't stop performing right now, we'll kill you. Whoa. So he looks at the note. What'd he do? Real G, right? He's a real G. He closed it and he kept performing. Yeah, real G. Keep that shit going. But after the concert was done, after the show was done, he left the bar with his homies and they're all driving in a car, right? The police, they stopped the car and then they pull over and they're like, we're looking for Chelino Sanchez. Oh, is that Chelino? Yo, you have to come with us. Put him in the car, right? The friends go along their own way. And that was the last time they ever saw Chelino again. So what ended up happening, those police officers weren't police officers. They were the cartel. They found Chelino 2 hours later, tied up, duct taped, with 2 bullets. Yeah.
What is going on in the skies right now? Because this ain't normal. Airlines all across the world just started canceling and delaying flights. All because a software update on one of the most common planes in the sky started acting weird, y'all. And get this, analysts think that the same computer glitch might have played a role in the JetBlue plane altitude suddenly dropping last month. Imagine you on a plane just chilling, relaxing, and all of a sudden the joint just nosedive or just drop out of nowhere, all because of a code update. Then the Airbus came out and said something completely even crazier. They are investigating and found signs of intense solar radiation may have corrupted data inside the flight control systems. So we talking solar radiation, like the sun is now messing with planes. Y'all remember them 2 blackouts? Now we having plane blackouts. I don't know what's happening, y'all. Between the radiation and the software glitches and a plane suddenly dropping altitude, all I'm gonna tell you, something is not adding up. People are losing.
Fun fact, still have never been on a plane before. That's crazy, man. Like the solar radiation and the software updates, man, is making the planes go freaking haywire, bro. I think it has something to do with 3i Atlas, right? Because then a couple of days ago, we had that freaking the Cloudflare blackout, with the internet. Everything was kind of down on Twitter and stuff. It's all connected, Seekers, man. Are you flying right there, bro? You gotta be careful.
In their minds after a 200-year-old castle was put up for sale for about half the price you can buy some one-bedroom flats in London. The castle is located on a Scottish island called the Isle of Rum. Come on, it has 20 bedrooms, it was once visited by the king, and you even get to keep all the historical pieces inside, including the demons. Not only was it built all the way back in the late 1700s, meaning it's seen some shit, but it's so cool that it even had public tours going on there for a while. And I mean, may I suggest it being a perfect home for those who have many enemies, as you even have lookout towers so you can see the ops coming from miles away. Now, there are some downsides. The heating might be a little expensive. The cost of monthly exorcisms will probably add up. And if you did want to demolish it and build a multi-story car park, well, permits might be a little tricky to get a hold of because it's a Category A listed building, meaning it's of national importance or whatever. But, if you and the homies wanted to take one bedroom each, you split it, that's £37,000. With the total price for all of this castle, £750,000. I mean, you may have to defend it against White Walkers one day, but I think it's a bargain.
1,000 meters under the Japanese mountain, there's a golden chamber filled with 50,000 tons of water so pure it can dissolve metal. This is a super Kamio Kande, and it's hunting ghost particles from dying stars. Those golden spheres covering the walls are 11,000 sensors, designed to detect neutrinos, particles so small they pass through your body, through Earth, through everything without stopping. When neutrinos hit this ultra-pure water, they create a tiny flash of light that those sensors capture. This facility proved neutrinos have mass, winning a Nobel Prize in 2015 and completely changing our understanding of physics. It can detect supernovas before the light reaches Earth, giving us hours of advanced warning when massive stars explode billions of light years away. The facility is also studying dark matter, the invisible substance that makes up most of the universe, but remains impossible to see or touch. Look at those workers in tiny boats maintaining the sensors. That's how you understand the scale here. A chamber the size of a 15-story building carved into a mountain. After 40 years of operation, it's still making discoveries, recently upgraded with gadolinium for even better detection capability. This cost $500 million to build with no immediate profit and no practical product, just humanity asking the biggest questions about why the universe exists and what everything is made of. When you build a golden cathedral underground to catch invisible particles from exploding stars, that's civilization reaching its peak. If you enjoyed this story, please show some love by liking the video and following my page for more amazing content like this.
Story behind how they got this photograph has to be the most interestingest thing I've ever seen. So this guy, Andrew McCarthy, had the idea to do a photo called The Fall of Icarus, where Andrew sent up one of his most bestest friends, Gabriel Brown, after he had Gabriel jump out of a small plane 3,500 feet off the ground and 8,000 feet away from the photographer. And the sun is like 67 million miles away from us. And what's even more insane is that this shot is nearly impossible to get. As we are constantly moving around the sun, the photographer and the skydiver both have to time this perfectly. And this is where things nearly got so much more worse, because when they were communicating, and if they missed their mark by even 1 second, they would have had to reset and recalculate everything, meaning that this photo almost never happened. And what's even more wilder is that they ended up getting this photo in one take. And what's even more interestinger, when you take a normal video of the sun, you get these flares, but since he used a specialized lens that only captures this certain wavelength, that's how he got the sun to look like puppy fur. And after like 6 or 7 weeks of planning and doing this all in one take, and Andrew couldn't believe that he got this on the first take. However, Andrew has taken some of the most insanest photos I've ever seen. Do you think this photo was worth 6 or 7 weeks of planning?
Cooked.
Yeah.
Somewhere in a South Korean lab, a new form of life is taking shape, encased in a shell of hydrophobic particles. This shape-shifting droplet is soft yet nearly indestructible. It survives high-impact drops, squeezes through impossible gaps, and glides over land and water without a sound. Controlled by ultrasound, it follows commands, precise, obedient, but always moving. Researchers believe it could navigate the human body, deliver medicine, or explore disaster zones. A machine born from technology. And this is only the beginning.
I don't know about feel about that.
Particle-armored liquid robots. Squishy, smart, spooky. Have these guys never seen a sci-fi movie? I think we know how this script ends. What are your thoughts? Should we call it awesome or freaky? All right.
I'm going with freaky, bro. A liquid robot born from biology, tech, and humans mixing. That never ends well, bro. Never.
This has been hidden for centuries. The Eiffel Tower's real purpose is extremely different to what you've been told. Most people believe it is just a symbol of Parisian culture and the industrial age, but there is far more. Its secrets could have revolutionized the world. The Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889 for the World's Fair. It was designed as a temporary exhibit showcasing modern engineering. But here is where it gets interesting. There is overwhelming evidence that the tower was actually built as a giant antenna for wireless electricity experiments. Nikola Tesla visited Paris in the 1880s, and during his visit he met with Gustave Eiffel and shared his vision of a world powered by free wireless energy. Tesla proved that with his Wardenclyffe Tower invention that could wirelessly transmit electricity across the globe. Eiffel was fascinated by Tesla's ideas and incorporated these principles into the design of the tower. The lattice structure is not just an aesthetic choice, but it gets even stranger. During the construction of the Eiffel Tower, there were reports of strange electromagnetic phenomena and unexplained lights around the tower. Local newspapers often mention mysterious experiments conducted late at night. Some even claim to have seen sparks and glowing orbs.
So, what are y'all eating on these so-called holidays? Because what I'm seeing people post on TikTok is not food. I'm convinced that these corporations have canceled the holidays along with us, because what is this, y'all? Why does this so-called chicken look like the bottom of somebody's foot? You have families open up cans of cranberries thinking they're going to get cranberries, but instead they're getting water. You got sweet potatoes holding onto water like they are a sponge. What is this? They're not even calling ice cream anymore. They're calling it frozen dairy dessert. What timeline are we in?
I'm tripping right now because I was just trying to trim some of the fat off my chicken. I started realizing, don't this look like a human foot? Or am I tripping?
They do. You ain't tripping, bro.
Watch me open this one. You had to do too.
Yeah, be natural, bro. This water, what the
Let us all this cans of water. That's right.
But don't these look like swords? Like, pay attention to the spot. Like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Like, it's like some kind of form of, some kind of sword. Like, ugh. Like, bitch, you know how much steak costs, bitch? This is fucking ridiculous. I thought they were capping when I seen it. But look.
It's like a sponge. It's not no sweet potato.
I got these on.
Those ain't yams, bro. That's a whole sponge.
Do these supposed to do that?
I don't think so.
Never in my 12 plus years of cooking for my family have I seen a chicken breast spasm.
It's like it's still alive, bro. Well, what's going on with the food sources, man, to 2025?
So I thought this is what I was going to cook today. And I started to clean it, thinking that this was just some outside skin. As you can see, I'm trying to push my thing forward and I cannot. And then I see this thing.
It's like rubber.
Like, it is so hard. And it literally looks like, I don't know if that's TV.
All the way.
Like, it is so hard. It looks exactly like plastic. Here is one that I had already pulled off. And I'm not sure what this is. Even down inside of there, as you can see, it's like plastic.
Yep. Yeah.
This is honeysuckle.
What happened to Briar's ice cream? That it's no longer ice cream? My husband and I were just trying to figure out why this Briar's ice cream that was buy one get one tastes so terrible. And as we were looking at the packaging, we realized that nowhere on here does this say ice cream. Now, I was trying to be moderately healthy. I mean, obviously moderately healthy, of course. when I chose the ingredients here because it starts with like milk and sugar and cream and okay, then it gets a little dicey. But it's like there for a while. It's perfect. But nowhere on here. In fact, it says frozen dairy dessert. But nowhere on Breyers. The Breyers. I mean, this was like the ice cream of my childhood and the premium. It's not like this sociopath out of here. Alright, Breyers ice cream. It's not even ice cream anymore.
How rare is your body? Only 10% of people are left-handed. However, they actually tend to live shorter lives. And only 1% of people in the world are ambidextrous. It means you have no preference of which hand you write and draw with. And only 1.5% of people have a single palm crease. This is mostly found in males and is a hereditary trait. And less than 1% of people have an extra rib. Most of us have 24 ribs, but some people are actually born with 25. And it's called a cervical rib. Now 3% of people have these little X's on their palms. It's extremely rare, but it's a sign that you have strong character.
Here's what some of the most famous monsters actually
I have
are.
X on my palm?
Chupacabra. The goat-griefing livestock leech believed to be first seen in Puerto Rico was more than likely a dog with a severe case of mange, and that's when mites burrow into the skin and basically cause parasitic alopecia. Bigfoot, different animals, same beast, or whatever it was Kobe said. Anyway, it was probably a mangy bear. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. What the hell mange does? Coke bear done graduated to meth? I don't mean numbers. The Loch Ness Monster. There have been many theories, but what's most likely was probably just an escaped circus elephant with trunks out like Dragon Ball. For centuries, there have been stories of killer Cyclops, a one-eyed op to humanity. Whole time, someone probably just found an expired elephant skull in an Olympic long jump to a conclusion. And last, almost every sea monster story you've ever heard was probably just some whale freeing his willy. That's exactly what you think it is, the more you know.
It is, what the hell?
What-if theories. What if everything behind you disappears, but when you look back, it reappears? What if our shadows were warning us about something in the dark because they disappear in it? What if you're the only person left on Earth and everyone and everything around us are just imaginary people and things we've made up so that we don't feel lonely? What if every time you think you hear your name being called, it's actually just your family trying to wake you up from a coma? What if the meteor that killed the dinosaurs was actually a UFO and we're the aliens?
Tell me secrets, man. Down below, what are the most freaking weirdest what if questions she asked? I think when she said about the aliens and how if we hear our real name being called by family, we're really trying to wake up from a coma. I couldn't even imagine that.
Wholesome facts that'll make your day slightly better. Part 2. If you've already made it to the airport without dying, you shouldn't be nervous about flying because you've already made it through the deadliest part of plane travel. Whenever you pet an animal, it actually lowers your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. Side note, this may not work on electric eels, porcupines, or anything that could decimate you in 2 seconds.
You think?
Because guinea pigs get lonely, it's actually illegal in Switzerland to own just one. You have to get at least 2 if you want to have any at all. Sometimes tarantulas will keep tiny frogs as pets. The frogs will eat small insects that would typically eat the tarantula eggs, and in exchange, the frog gets a pretty damn good bodyguard. Capybara Land is a place in Japan where you can quite literally hang out with capybaras and see them chilling in hot springs. If 99% of the world's population finds you unattractive, that would mean that 78 million people still find you attractive.
You got a chance. You got a shot out there with somebody, bro. That's insane, man. Even if half the population thinks you're
It's
ugly.
one of the craziest urban legends I've ever heard. And it ended up being true. So almost 100 years ago, there was an aquarium in Australia that had a giant tiger shark on display. And the legend goes that one day, in front of like groups of families, the shark threw up a human arm. And not only is that true, but it opened a murder investigation. Also, this week's episode is all about Australian true urban legends, so make sure you listen. So after the shark threw up the human arm, the police had to figure out whose it was and why it was in the shark's belly. Well, the first thing the police noticed was the arm was cut cleanly, not jagged like it was from a shark bite, meaning that the arm was intentionally cut. So now it's clear that this was a murder, but whose arm is it? Well, one thing they noticed is that the arm has 2 boxers in a fighting stance tattooed on it. So they end up writing about that in the paper, and one guy who was reading it goes, hey, that sounds like my brother's tattoo. His brother was a man named Jim Smith, and he was involved in the seedy underbelly of Sydney society. Jimmy ran insurance fraud scams in Sydney, and he was just involved with a lot of bad people. And the last person he was seen with was one of Sydney's most notorious criminals. The story has a lot of twists, including how was he involved with the last guy he was seen with. And there's a lot of fun Australian urban legends, like the story of the Button Man, so make sure you check out this week's episode.
Fun fact of the day that my small brain cannot physically comprehend. This one really did make me say, what the fuck? I want you to do me a favor and pour yourself a glass of water. Do it! Now, there is an immensely high chance that that water you're about to drink is older than the solar system. This is because it existed in ice specks floating in cosmic clouds before any of this shit came to be. Oh, and one more thing. Scientists estimate that every glass of water you drink has 100% passed through a dinosaur. So put immensely bluntly, the most vital thing humans need to survive is Jurassic wee-wee. My brain! Let's make a deal. If you didn't know these facts or they shocked you in any way, you have to share it. Now remind someone to stay hydrated today. And then immediately send them this video. We're so evil. Elon!
Jurassic wee-wee, bro. What the hell? I didn't even know that, but if you think about it, yeah, like the water we drinking, I guess he said they've been passed through dinosaurs, man. We drink Jurassic wee-wee, man. The more you know. Tap in with us. You gonna learn some things.
What's the most dangerous place on Earth? Number 8 is Lake Natron in Tanzania. The lake's so alkaline, animals get mummified. Number 7, Morgan Island, off the coast of South Carolina. 4,000 monkeys all infected with the herpes B virus. 6 is Mexico's giant crystal cave. 1,000 feet underground. Cave is 113 degrees Fahrenheit and 100% humidity. 5, Oymyakon, Russia. The coldest town on Earth, reaching minus 50 degrees. Number 4, Runit Island. In the 70s, U.S. government buried radioactive plutonium. Number 3, the K2 Summit. It's the inhospitable mountain summit in the world. Number 2 is Snake Island, an island full of thousands of poisonous snakes. It's illegal to go here. Number 1 is North Sentinel Island, home to the indigenous people who have violently rejected contact with the outside world. So much so, if you even get close, they'll swim out to you and try to kill you.
Now this is insane. Today I learned that in a remote village in Turkey, there is a family that walks on all fours. Now these individuals have baffled scientists since they were first discovered in 2005, and initially experts couldn't explain why they were the only known humans to walk on all fours. The only theory that they had was that humans were beginning to devolve. Yes, I am not kidding. I literally just posted a YouTube video reacting to some of these insane theories. The documentary on the family got roasted so hard that they had to turn off the comments. It's pretty good, check it out. Now the real reason that they walk on all fours, and to sum it up very simply, their parents are first cousins and have 18 children. And unfortunately, because of this, they were born with an extremely rare disorder that makes them lose their sense of balance. They had no balance as babies, and instead of learning to stand upright and walk like the rest of us, they remained crawling for life.
Damn, crawling for life? I couldn't do that.
Unfortunately, on Saturday, April 20th of this year in Newport, Michigan, a child's birthday that's supposed to be filled with joy was then filled with sadness and grief. 66-year-old Marcella Chidester drove her car into Swan Boat Club where a birthday party was being hosted. There, she unalived 2 children and injured 13 other individuals. Later in court, she testified stating that she had a seizure while she was driving and that caused her to have the accident. But police testified stating that she was tested for alcohol and she was highly intoxicated at the time of the crash. Her lawyer then claimed she did have 1 glass of wine before getting behind the wheel, but police said based on her BAC, blood alcohol concentration, it's impossible she only had 1 drink. As of April 23rd, she's being held on a $1.5 million bond and is being charged with murder. Being that this case is so recent, her exact jail sentence has not yet been determined. The 2 victims are 8-year-old Lana Phillips and her younger brother, 4-year-old Zane Phillips. I put a link to a GoFundMe in the comments section for this family, and in the meantime, how long do you think Marcella should receive in jail?
Does anyone remember
How long,
they were building a
Seekers?
freeway outside of St. Louis and they found over 200 bodies in one spot? And before I even get into it, you know that's what tonight's episode is going to be about.
Whoa.
So outside of St. Louis, there's this one area that has all of these strange mounds. There's no hills anywhere else, so people always wondered if they were man-made. But in the 1960s, when they were building a freeway there, they had to cut through these mounds for construction. So they thought they would just cut into them and there would be dirt inside. But that was not the case. One of the mounds had 272 bodies buried inside of it.
Damn.
And they were like, what is going on? Is this from a serial killer? Well, two things. First, the bodies were in really bad shape. The skeletons were largely women, and they were all lined up in these rows. And the ones that weren't women, a couple of them had been beheaded. And the second thing is that these bodies were 1,000 years old. It turns out that these mounds were from an ancient civilization that practiced human sacrifice. And this was kind of a big discovery because historians didn't think that indigenous Americans practiced ritual sacrifice until that discovery. But why were they sacrificing people and how were they doing it? Well, if you want to know more about what was happening in the area and you maybe want to know more about human sacrifice in general, you're definitely going to want to check out tonight's episode.
That's actually insane, Seekers, man. It wasn't just one, man. There's like they said it was like 2 or 3 of them, so they was all filled up to the brim. Man. More you know, bro. Like, times back then, people went to some dark things, man.
These are the biggest things in the world. Up first, we have the world's biggest functioning iPhone. It's made by the YouTuber Matthew B. It's over 6 feet tall, and yes, actually works. And this is the world's largest pizza, which is enough to feed an entire village. It was made by 5 friends in Italy in December 2012. It measures 13,580 square feet. And this is the largest truck in the world. It's the Belize dump truck. And this truck is over 65 feet long, 33 feet wide, and 26 feet tall.
These are interesting facts to tell your friends. Part 1. Up first, did you know 2 days in your life will not last 24 hours? And those days are the day you were born and the day you will die. This is absolutely insane, and just wrap your head around that for a second. Next, it is almost impossible to speak the biggest word in the English language. And it's on the screen now, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
Me either.
Next up, you only know you fell asleep when you wake up. So next time you're laying in bed trying to sleep, just know you won't know you fell asleep until you've woken up. Next up, you can feel that your toes are touching, but your brain just ignores it. Do me a favor and try and feel your toes touching. I bet you can. Next, 90% of people after a discussion are left thinking of arguments of stuff they could have talked about. And I know I'm 100% guilty of this. Next, our brain generates about 50,000 thoughts a day. I guarantee you can't even write down 50,000 thoughts. Finally, the last person you think about before you fall asleep is the source of all of your pain or all of your joy. So just remember that.
Really? I never even thought about it like that. What do you guys think about before you guys fall asleep? Is it joy or pain?
Fun facts that you might find pretty damn interesting. Number 1, banging your head against a wall for an hour burns 150 calories. Number 2, approximately 40,000 Americans are injured by toilets each year. Number 3, there's a higher chance of you being elected president of the United States than winning the lottery. Number 4, an average of 100 people choke to death on ballpoint pens each year. Number 5, it is harder to be an employee at Walmart than a student at Harvard because Walmart has a lower acceptance rate. Number 6, human birth control pills work on gorillas. Number 7, there are 2 million millionaires in the United States. I am not one of them. And number 8, like fingerprints, every tongue print is different from person to person.
That's actually a freaking mind-blowing fact with the one she said about president, man. That the president, that really goes to show you, man, how sometimes, man, I think the lottery, man, is just freaking corrupted, or there's a theory behind it where, like, they be choosing people to win. Because that makes no sense how you have a higher chance of becoming a president than actually winning the lottery. If you said that to a person, they probably look at you like you was crazy. But I guarantee you that's true.
This is why you should never go swimming in a lake again. If you ever go swimming in a lake, you can get a very severe brain infection called an agleria, and it's caused by amoebas that are found in lakes and rivers. The amoeba will then start slowly eating your brain, which you would most likely die from. This is extremely rare to get, but every time you go into a lake, you actually risk getting it. So I, for one, am never going in a lake again, and I think you guys should do the same.
Thanks for that helpful information. We will not be doing it.
We are the most dangerous thing in Massachusetts. Yep, I'm talking about the Pukwoodzi. We're those legendary forest spirits you've probably heard whispers about. We've been hanging around Massachusetts' woods since the Wampanoag tribes first called this place home. Sure, we can be a bit of a nuisance to humans, and once upon a time, we kinda got along. But then things took a turn for the worse, and humans started coming after us hard. Ever since, we've had it out for humans, not holding back and taking them out whenever we see a chance. We're all about messing with our target, and what we do next, well, that depends on who you run into us at. If you're a hiker who's lost, we might help you find your way, though not back to the trailhead, if you catch my drift. Out hunting, watch out for our poison arrows, and if you're a young woman, well, we've got plans that don't bear going into. Long story short, if you're wandering through Massachusetts, keep your eyes peeled and know your surroundings. Comment your name if you want to be protected. And if you have an encounter with us, get away as soon as possible because
You will never go near the
Okay.
woods again if you watch this documentary. It is about hunters and people who specialize in being in the wilderness who just vanish without a trace. And I'm not
Ooh.
talking like they wander into the woods and just go missing. In one of these cases, a guy went into the woods with a group of his friends and they went hunting. He was only about a couple of feet away from them when suddenly they turned around and he was gone.
What
In
the
many of these
fuck?
cases, massive search parties are released to try to find these people and they are never found. A couple of theories are discussed in this doc, like paranormal theories, Sasquatch theories, ideas that maybe they like fell into crevasses. If trained professionals are going missing in the wilderness, you bet your ass I'm not going anywhere near the woods. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced anything weird in the wilderness and hit follow for more docs to watch.
She nailed it, man. Those are trained professionals going in the woods and they just disappearing, dropping off the face of the earth, and I ain't going nowhere near there, bro.
A woman who was missing for 30 years was just found alive in Puerto Rico. So Patricia Copta vanished without a trace from her home in Pennsylvania in 1992. The situation surrounding her disappearance was a little strange and scary because Patricia's mental health had been getting worse and worse over the years. So when she disappeared, the police told her younger sister and husband that they thought she left on her own accord and basically closed the case. They thought that she would maybe come back, but then 30 years went by with no phone calls and no contact. Everyone in her life had assumed she passed away. But recently, an 83-year-old woman in an elderly home in Puerto Rico started opening up to a nurse for the first time. The woman had been diagnosed with dementia and started bringing up things in her life that she had never spoken about before. This alarmed one of the nurses at the facility, who contacted authorities to get a DNA test because she started believing that this woman was a missing woman from the United States. And sure enough, it was Patricia. She had never told anyone about her previous life and had never contacted her family. Her husband and sister were contacted because they're still alive and they were shocked.
Could you guys imagine that, man? Just finding a lost relative like that?
12-year-old girl unalived her entire family so she could be with her 23-year-old boyfriend. Jasmine Richardson was a normal kid until she turned 11 years old. She started dressing in a darker aesthetic, liking some darker things. She would post on websites like MySpace and VampireFreaks.com, telling people she was 15 instead of 11. Because the thing about Jasmine is even though she was 11, she didn't look 11. She always kind of looked older than she actually was. She started sneaking out to hang out with her new older friends and would meet older guys. By the time that Jasmine was 12 years old, she was in a full-on relationship with this freak, 23-year-old Jeremy. And just so you know, just because she was lying about her age on social media, this guy was fully aware that his girlfriend was 12 years old, a literal preteen, and he would also tell people that he was a 300-year-old werewolf. So for context, we are dealing with a full-on freak. Jasmine's parents were horrified when they found out that their 12-year-old daughter was online telling people that she was older than she actually was, and that she was dating a full-on adult. So they did their best to keep Jeremy away. Jasmine and Jeremy didn't want to be apart, and they thought that the only way that they could be together is if Jasmine's parents were no longer alive. What started out as jokes became real plans to not only unalive Jasmine's parents, but her 8-year-old brother as well. On April 22nd, 2006, Jasmine secretly led Jeremy into her home where he brutally unalived her parents. Jasmine's 8-year-old brother, Jacob, heard the entire thing while hiding in his room holding his lightsaber for protection. It's like heart-shattering. It's unclear who actually unalived 8-year-old Jacob because Jasmine and Jeremy blame each other for his death. Jasmine and Jeremy thought that they were soulmates, and now with her parents out of the picture, they were going to be together forever.
But in reality, that was not the case. They were actually quickly brought to justice because they were bragging to anyone that would listen about what they had just done to her entire family. And of course, as soon as they were arrested, the soulmates turned on each other. Jeremy was sentenced to 3 life sentences, but due to Jasmine's age, she only served 6 years in a rehabilitation center and 4 years on probation. She was fully released into society in 2017 and has been out living in society, free as a bird, ever since under a new name. Actually, a lot of controversy in this case because of that, but what do you think? Do you think Jasmine is a victim, a child manipulated by a predator, or do you think if she's old enough to do the crime, she's old enough to do the time?
Terrifying facts you never knew.
You know what to
If
do.
your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if it did, they would attack your eyeballs until you can no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetative state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. Matheny was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers, using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eat. I'm cooking all my food myself. That's why I don't eat over people's house. In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering, and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all. But they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured it out. They were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this video if you want a part 2.
Basically put you on a genjutsu, bro. That's actually insane, man, if you think about it, man. Those facts, the more you know, man. The more you know. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, I do daily uploads, man. So always make sure you guys check the channel at least once time every single day. You guys can expect a banger to be uploaded. Like I said, man, just sub up to the channel, hit the post notification bell, follow me on my social medias, links in the description down below. Hit the like button, man. It helps push us into the algorithm, man, so we can just take off in it one day. But we're gonna continue to grow step by step every single day. Guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.